Hey the internet, this is Lark. A little bit of a different video today. As you may know if you've seen my stuff before, the bit in the middle is usually quite scripted. I allow myself a little bit of wiggle room, but I have a kind of point and I want to get to it in a reasonable amount of time, like around 10 minutes. But today, I was trying to write something about the Guild Wars 2 beta event, and I found that as I was writing it, it almost became an argument with myself. It became like this weird meandering thing. So I thought today we'd just kind of keep it a bit loose, have a bit more of a conversation, and maybe while I'm talking to you, I'll come to some kind of conclusion while I'm doing it. Yeah, it's the open beta for Guild Wars 2 this weekend, as well as many other things. Dota 2 International, gotta watch that. Gamescom, loads of stuff coming out of that, loads of stuff coming from Blizzard. Very exciting, but I'm looking forward to getting into the Guild Wars 2 beta for Heart of Thorns because I haven't had a chance before. I haven't, through timing or various twists of fate. This is my first time that I'm actually going to be playing any of the apart from the Stronghold PvP, any of the other new content from Heart of Thorns. I'm super excited about it. Definitely going to check out the Revenant. Really looking forward to seeing the Maguuma jungle, like how they deal with verticality and scale. Looks really interesting. I can't wait to experience that. And as we all are as well, we get our opportunity, get an opportunity, as it said in the accompanying blog post. They want our feedback. It's not too late. It's not too late if there's anything, if there's anything glaring or like little bits and pieces, fine tuning, that sort of thing. And there was part of a bit of phrasing in that blog post that really, it kind of got my mind going. Some of you know how I can be, but it was just a phrase. Colin Johansson wrote it, and he said, "We want you to let us know like how fun it is to play the new class and the new the elite specializations and everything. We want you to tell us how fun it is. How fun is it?" And that kind of got my brain going about, like, what is that valuable feedback? Like, is it valuable to say, like, I had, over the course of a weekend, like, how much time do you really have over a weekend? Like, even if you don't work on the weekends, like, maybe you've got things to do, like, other than play games. Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're gonna get to play it for 16 hours. Maybe they'll have server issues. Maybe it'll be down for a lot of the time. Like, who knows? So, if you got like a few hours, you're going to jump in, you're going to make a Revenant. It's going to be level 80 already, so you're going to have a million different toys to play with. And like, even with an elite specialization, like, you've been playing this character the whole time, and suddenly, oh my god, elite specializations, all unlocked, so many new things to play with, so many like little different things to do with the build, and thinking about, oh man, if we use this gear set, if we use that gear set, like so many different things all the time. You've got maybe a few hours, probably less than 10. Over the course of the beta period, especially if in like a time zone that is going to be more overnight than it is during the day. And I just think surely just the novelty of that will be enough to just, like, that's just fun, isn't it? Like, you're doing new things, you're in new areas. Like, of course, just the novelty is going to make that fun. And I wonder if that feedback from doing that is going to be valuable when it comes to thinking about what longevity the new content in Heart of Thorns is going to have. It's been 3 years since the launch of Guild Wars 2. I mean, there's no reason to expect it'll be that long again before the next expansion. Like, I imagine it'll be a shorter amount of time, but really it's got to maintain for quite a while, along with like other releases that I'm sure will happen along the way, as did with the original release of Guild Wars 2. They released a huge amount of new things just completely for free, which is extraordinary. So I'm sure we'll see a similar situation with Heart of Thorns. But what was the point I was driving at? Yeah, so you're in Maguuma Jungle, you have a great time for that first 10 hours or whatever, but is having a great time over a weekend for however many hours, does that experience then mean that stretched out over possibly multiple years, like, do the two like equate? Does one feed into the other? Like, can focusing on a short-term experience, can focusing on how fun is it those first few hours, does that actually detract from the longer experience of, you know, playing an MMO in the way that people traditionally do, you know, making friends and doing things and logging in multiple times a week over an extremely extended period for a video game. Does that naturally feed in? I'm sure like creating a bump of novelty at level 80 with things like elite specializations will definitely help getting into the, like, for new, you know, for people going through the leveling process, which of course a lot of people aren't going to be now. A lot of established players and returning players will already have that level 80, so I suppose you get that peak of novelty at the start, and then that'll all kind of tail off. So what do you have? You have the content in Maguuma, the open world content, which has taken huge leaps forward, actually, I think, in Guild Wars 2, just in terms of that sort of the end game open world experience of Guild Wars 2 and those max level zones. Like, thinking about how Ore was like the first max level zone when the game started, and then moving in, like, the lessons learned from that, the changes they made for that, going into like the south zone with the Karka and everything. You know, maybe a few people, there was criticism, people thought there were some mistakes made there, which then, you know, ArenaNet, I think they learned from that as well, and they changed a lot of that. And going on, I think between Dry Top and the Silver Waste and some other temporary content like festival things, you can really see how they've grown and developed and started to understand not only what it is that players want out of the game, but the capabilities of the game itself, like what they can create. And they obviously have a lot more tools available to them now than they did 3 years ago, which is great to see. A lot of it's under the hood, but I think it makes a big difference to the experience. But so we're getting into these Maguuma jungles. There's like all of these lessons learned over the past 3 years, and you can see the progress that they've made. And now they've had this opportunity to do it on the grandest scale that they have so far. And it's strange to me that one thing they seem to be really focusing on, and a point that they seem to be driving home, is the on-demand nature of new content, like adventures, being able to do them just whenever you want, along with much more layered content, like having multiple things to do within the same area, and then being able to access that all the time immediately within the open world. Like, that's not, to me, that's not the same as queuing up for a dungeon and being able to do that when you want, or, you know, going to the PvP area, queuing for a battleground or whatever, and being able to do that when you want. This is open world all the time, just being out, maybe leveling masteries, doing that kind of thing, continuing the sort of process that Guild Wars 2 has established, of this sort of temporary, not like a necessary gear treadmill, but like you have limited windows of opportunity to like achieve and experience certain things, and that, you know, that kind of drives you to keep logging in, keep playing the game, you know, getting your login rewards every day, saving up your laurels for ascended gear and everything. It's that kind of, you know, keep you going experience. But when you log in, and instead of being in the Guild Wars 2 as it was at the beginning, even with Ore, even with those top level zones, like you kind of, in the early days, in the very early days of Guild Wars 2, like Ore could be tough. Like if you were by yourself, or if you were with people who, you know, didn't necessarily know what they were doing. Like you could fail those events, you could get pushed back, it could take an amount of time to have another go to get through a certain area. The maps were like really strangely laid out. It was really hard to work out. You got turned around, double backed on yourself, and, you know, it was a tough experience, but at the same time it wasn't all the time go, pressure. Whereas now you look at the Silver Waste and it is all the time go, pressure, especially with now the way the servers are structured. Like if you zone into the Silver Waste, you instantly zone into Silver Waste, you look around, you see the map progression as it's going on, and you go, oh, map progression is really short, I'll join a taxi group to one where it's gone on for longer, so you can jump into that instantly. You're doing the events run like constant while you're in these keeps. Got to defend the keeps all the time. Got to do that. Okay, we've done that. We've defended the keeps. Jump down the thing. Kill the boss. Like that's all frantic and everything. Okay, we've killed the boss. Everyone run to the thing. You've got about a minute to sort out your loot drops, and then it's like the big boss thing at the end. You're fighting elites, champions all the time. You got to know where you're going, know what you're doing. You don't want to end up in a situation where where you're having to go all the way back to the waypoint on the other side of the map because no one's going to res you if you're completely out. So it's all go go go, kill the boss, great, kill the boss now, open all the things, go to the what is it? Go to the place with those what is it? With the Mordrum Hound things that kill you instantly. And you got to run around there and you do that thing, and then you go. And it's you see the point that I'm getting at. It's time pressured in the way that content hasn't really been before in Guild Wars 2, and when you add to that additional goals and objectives that are happening at the same time as that pace, like they've said with the Maguuma jungle, there's this day-night cycle, so everything's time-based, everything's like preparing for the night, and then when you're at night, it's all about kind of holding on and being able to kind of cope. I've been labouring this point quite a lot, but you get the idea. It's like the level of intensity is a notch higher. The level of on demand, always go 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 is a little bit higher, and it kind of made me think of playing WildStar for the first time. And I think one thing WildStar does really well in its open world is it gives you a huge variety of different things to do all the time. And everyone that's played WildStar will know that feeling when, if you're playing like a scientist or something, as your path thing, you go into an area, you see all the scientist things, so you go, okay, I've got to scan this thing, and I've got to kill these things, and I've got to pick up these things, and I've got to use my quest ability to do this to this thing, and I've got to avoid the elite mobs as I do that. And then suddenly, like, you hear the voiceover that just goes, challenge begins, and suddenly there's this time pressure attached to maybe one of those things. And it can really become overwhelming. Like, even, as a new player to the game, it can become overwhelming. But then at the same time, like, as someone completely new to MMORPGs, someone completely new to using a keyboard and mouse to interact with a game in that way, it can become seriously overwhelming, especially with a style of combat like WildStar, or in the same way like Guild Wars 2, because remember they've said the mobs are going to be tougher, you're going to have to use your dodges, you're going to have to use your defensive abilities. When you have to concentrate to that extent for an extended period of time, have to manage multiple short-term time gated intense goals. To me, like, I've just set foot into my 30s, and honestly, like, I already can't maintain that level of like concentration and focus for as long as I used to be able to. Like, the thought of the way that I used to play MMOs when I was younger, in those days, when you have like hours and hours and hours in a day to be able to just sit there and play, like, I don't think that I could do that with a game. I mean, they've made improvements to it in WildStar. It's much less like that now, and I've got to give them props for the sheer variety of things that they have to do. But that level of intensity is hard to maintain for a long time, and I think it's strange to me that is the direction that Guild Wars 2 seems to want to go in. Like, to them, that's the ideal of what they want, and that's obviously down to feedback from players. But I wonder if maybe this is one of those areas where players always want more, more things to do, more on-demand stuff all the time. But is that really in the best interests of the game in the long term? Like, is another 3 years for Guild Wars 2? Are we going to look back and say, oh yeah, it was really great when with Heart of Thorns, when they started really amping up the pressure constantly? Because we know obviously that players are going to go for the dominant strategy, and players are going to go for the path of least resistance. If they have a goal in mind, we know that it is human nature. It doesn't necessarily mean that everyone behaves exactly like this all the time, but it is human nature to use whatever is perceived to be the most effective and consistent strategy to achieve that goal in the shortest amount of time. So, like, people approach things that this is how you get champion trains in low-level zones in Guild Wars 2. This is how you get people zoning between world bosses, because it's a more efficient way of doing dungeons. This is why in the Guild Wars 2 dungeons, like, speed running is the thing. Like, people still skip out huge parts of the maps, and it's all about doing it faster, 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 getting the rewards faster, faster, faster all the time. And now it's almost like now Guild Wars 2 are kind of calling the bluff of the player base and being like, okay, you want everything to be faster, you want everything more, you want everything to be right now. All right, we're gonna do it. That's how we're gonna make our game. And I wonder if it's just gonna be a little bit too much, and people, when it's no longer voluntary, when it's an enforced level of intensity, you don't get those sort of peaks and troughs. You're either all in. You're either all in or you're not at all. There's no fluctuation to it, and there's no decision really behind that. The decision that is left, the agency that is left for players, is to say, I'm tired. I've been doing this for a little while. I can't concentrate anymore. I'm dying more. It's frustrating. I'm just gonna sit back for a little while and kind of recharge. What opportunity do players then have to take that downtime in the game itself? Or are players more likely to just log off? Are players more likely to go in, go hard or go home, give it 100% for as long as they've got, and then log out? So I've been going on for far too long, and my camera decided it had enough of me talking, so it cut out. And yeah, I can't remember, what were we talking about? I told you this was gonna be much more of a rambling thing, but you get my point. Like, where is the opportunity then? Where is the opportunity in this drive towards intensity? Where is the opportunity for players to make connections that last the years? Like, is that even a thing anymore? Like, as we go into the digital age, as we exist in a virtual space socially online 24/7, we don't have to log into a game to do that anymore. Like, is that still the role of an MMO even to do that? I mean, I don't know. I don't know, which is why I've done this style of video for this topic. And if you've enjoyed it or if you hate it, please do let me know, because I would like to get your feedback, ironically, because of, the novelty of this experience for the viewers on this channel. But yeah, thanks a lot. If you want to let me know anything, you can use the comments below. Hit like if you think it's a discussion worth having, if you got anything out of this video, and make sure you subscribe for wonderful things from fabulous people, and I will see you again really soon. Thanks. Bye.
Make sure to level up your MMO knowledge by visiting MMORPG.com, subscribing to our YouTube channel, and by following us on social media. To catch up on the week's biggest MMO news, watch our latest MMO FTW. And to see if there's a better MMO out there for you, watch one of our latest First Impressions videos. Thanks for watching.